What's the mute doing? Headphones on mute.
It's live.
Is that this? This is the headphones?
Why is that?
Anyways,
That's fine.
just talk, I guess.
Yeah, talk.
Hello?
No, this is the mic that you're
That's the
using.
mic. That's
Hello?
not
So
there.
hopefully it's not muted.
Can you hear me? Is that muted or is saying headphones mute? It wasn't doing that before.
Yeah, well, you know, we're just going to have to
Can you
figure
guys
it out.
hear me
Yeah,
there?
ask Lyle if he can hear you.
Lyle, can you hear me?
If you could put a yes.
Can you put a yes
Or
if you can hear me or a no?
I'm just staring.
Why is that headphones thing? Is it a yes? Can you hear me?
Denise?
Can you turn up the volume on the top?
Yes. Yay,
Cool.
thank you.
Okay.
Sid, yes.
Do you want to press that mute thing off? Because it's...
No, you can't see it.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't see
Okay.
it. Don't worry about it, yeah?
I'm worried about the sound though.
Just
if
some
they can
technical
hear.
difficulties.
I just can't see anything.
Yes. Okay, cool. Alright.
Getting ready. Okay, cool. They can hear loud and clear. Hey, Steph.
So you want to, so Zoe, you want to be able to make sure you're talking to this directly.
Okay,
So if you
that's
want to
better.
talk, so if you want
Oh,
to
is
talk
it?
to me or Sheena, like I'm still talking to the microphone, really into it, and then look over this way.
So like that?
Sometimes what people do is we get comfortable. I do it as well. And we start talking back here. But the podcast that we're going to have,
Yep.
well, you won't be able to hear it as well because you're like
Okay.
echoing in the background.
Okay.
So they can hear us through here, I
Yeah.
think. But we want to try and make sure that we hear you.
Okay,
And if
cool.
I'm talking too loud, just give me a nudge.
Okay.
Sometimes I get too excited.
Cool. So there's this thing on there, the headphones, I can't see.
Yeah,
anything.
don't worry about
Don't worry
it.
about
Yeah,
that.
don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry
It's,
about
it's,
it.
it's
Don't worry
going and it's gonna
Okay.
be
We'll
great.
just we'll be focusing on it. Do you want to come over here, Sheena, and talk in this one? What do you
because
prefer?
because it's louder. I don't
No,
know.
no. What do you want? Are you right over there?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you want
I
the
mean-
headphones?
No. I mean, is this my interview or?
It's up to you. Whatever you want to do. What do you want to do? It's a team radio show, so.
Well, now you can't see me.
Stay there.
I'll just go over here without the headphones.
Well, next week I've got some spare headphones. I'll make sure I bring them.
Yeah.
Bring them this
Yeah,
week.
yeah, that's
Well,
okay. We just need to make sure that's down like that.
Okay.
Yeah, you just talk loud.
Just talk loud and talk into it. Lovely girlfriend. All right, ready to go? We're going to go on. Yeah?
Yep.
You do the intro though, right?
I'll do it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
do the same thing, and then I'll just continue to ask questions.
I don't even want to know what I say. I just go.
Yeah.
Ready? Ladies and gentlemen, we're live back down on Bondi Radio for the weekend wellness show. That's starting to feel really great to start to say that on a regular basis. We're back live down in here. My name is Liam Zollo, your host. I'm with my awesome co-host, Sheena Alexandra, and we've got a great guest this morning. We had a great guest before. We've had a great show so far. I think we
Yes.
talked about hate mail,
Yeah.
our first hate mail, which was awesome, and we chatted to Sarah about overcoming
Anorexia,
eating disorder and her journey on success, and now we're with Zoe Bell.
Hello.
I'm looking forward to the conversation, Zoe Bell. So, Sheena, do you want to intro a little bit?
Well,
or do you-
yeah, Zoe, I am so happy that you're here. Zoe, I want to hear about your background, and we're going to talk about meditation and how you found meditation and what your life was like before. Now, I have started reading your book. I'm on page 183, I think, and there's so much that's happened in your past. You've got such a colorful background.
Is this a non-fiction or fiction book? Like, is this about so it's about you, or is it about a story about a girl an underlying deep about you? So which one is it?
Can I share?
Yeah.
So Zoe, this is Zoe's porn name, Pinky Fairway.
I've never done porn.
You have a porn name?
Yeah.
How do you pick a porn name? Just out of curiosity.
Okay, so if I was to ask you,
Yep.
what was the name of your first pet?
First pet was Tigger.
Okay, and what was the first street that you grew up in?
Oh, it's not a good one. Birrell.
Okay, so you're
Tigger Birrell.
So
I love it.
And the reason I came up with this is
Yeah,
because
Tigger Birrell.
it's addressing some very sensitive issues, so it makes it a little bit more light,
Okay, cool.
playful,
Yep.
and I'll explain as the shows go on what the pinky means as well.
Okay, awesome. Oh, that's good to know.
And I love how you addressed this at the very beginning, and you allowed us to be our true, authentic, playful self, and it's in a fantasy, because you go real raw, you go really deep here and very raw, and you lighten it up by using the name Pinky Fairway, and I love your story so far, and I still have like 500 pages to go.
It's a big book. I'm bringing a book out myself, but mine was about 2 pages written and the rest was drawings, so yours is a lot bigger than mine, and this is a lot more information, I reckon, in the one. Well, I'm glad to read. I'm looking forward to reading this. Can guys read this book? Is it a guy-girl thing or more tailored for women? How does that work?
It's actually been really interesting. The guys that have been reading it have actually said that every guy needs to read this to understand women, and every woman needs to read this to understand themselves.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, well, I'll read it then. Because if that's the Bible on how to understand women, I'm in.
It's about, understanding ourselves, and at the end of the day, we're both masculine and feminine.
Exactly right.
So it's about bringing that all together and bringing it back to relationship itself, plus some fun exercises to do together.
Yeah, hell yeah, this sounds awesome. This is great.
Oh, now you know why I love you so much. So do you want to just start? I guess, why don't we talk about what your life was before you found meditation, and then what was that breaking point, and how are you using meditation in your life and helping others?
Okay, so pinpointing it into a very fine, because there's so much there. I guess, having a very colourful past, a lot of experiences throughout my journey, I was very lost. So I was very much like a crazy egg, going up, down, and not finding a very stable base to come to. And it would have been 6 months after leaving my marriage, actually having an affair and then leaving my marriage, and being in a space of having 2 children. One was 3, the other one was 4. They just turned 3 and 4. And looking at their behavior, and our lives were starting to go downhill. I started going into very destructive behaviors that had been my pattern all the way through. And I remember we were in Marrickville at the time, and I remember being outside. We were living in a 1-bedroom house, and I remember being outside and in the garden, and my children's behavior was going downhill, and looking at my life and going, is this it? And being in the garden, screaming down on my knees, and basically screaming out to the universe, can I swear?
Go for it.
How'd you
I was like,
be upset with this?
Just swearing, is this fucking it? And being at that point of really being in that point of surrender, asking, and being in a very vulnerable place, and just sitting there and bawling my eyes out while I've got children covered in Vegemite all running around. And it was a typical scene. And it was about 3 weeks later, while I went to a yoga class, and I bumped into the perfect teacher, and then I started practicing that every day, and then after about 3 years, then I started teaching it.
Yeah, so that's interesting, I don't know if you know much about, we all have heard of Tony Robbins. He talks about that stacking effect, and what happens is it's like a negative emotion over a negative, and it takes that stacked up to that point where you just go, that's effing it, I'm done, I'm going to do whatever I can do to just make a change. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that we always have to get to that spot, or sometimes we need to get to that position.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And to look what's happened now.
And I think we have many of those. I think they call it Gestalt, where you have, and I remember when I was seeing a psychologist, and it must have been probably 10 years before then. So I had many moments, and I think in life we have many moments where we find ourselves at rock bottom. And sometimes we're not ready. Sometimes we're not ready to learn the lessons. Sometimes the teachers are there, but we're not able to see past, or we're not willing to ask.
That's awesome you said that as well, because I'm not plugging, it's good that we're both talking about the book scenario, but that's what my book's called, The Humble Hero. It's about recognising the people in your life, and the mentors that saw something inside you that helped you realise that moment where you were ready.
Yes.
And then that helps you see that moments of success. So this is awesome.
It's been, we talk about the hero. I mean, a few people, I've never read The Hero's Journey, but they've compared the book to being like the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because even you were saying to me, now I know you, now I understand you. And I was like, well, it's who I was. Now I've shifted again.
Yeah.
So while you're writing your book, you'll probably notice you shift. Then you meet somebody else, and then that changes your perspective.
Exactly right. Definitely.
So they're constantly changing.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, she is awesome.
It's powerful.
Well done. Well done.
So tell us about this meditation. Is there a certain type of meditation that you do, and how has it changed your life?
So the meditation that I do, it actually comes from Maharishi, which comes from India, and the way that it works, so if you can imagine you've got a glass of water, and at the top of the glass of water you have your conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And on your conscious mind you have your ego, that's usually the voice in your head running around, and that's what most people feel trapped within.
Mm-hmm.
And what this does, it has a beautiful way. I hear a lot, people are like, I'm meditating, and I'm really firm on when you think you're meditating, you've actually lost the concept of what meditation is, because you have an attachment to it.
Yes, exactly right.
So what you need to do, you need to be sneaky, you need to become the smarter opponent. So the ego is given a mantra, which is very unique, specific to the individual. They then practice this mantra, so the ego is happy, the ego is entertained. So over time, what you start to do is you give it to the ego, you take it away. You give it, you take it away. So the ego starts learning about non-attachment, about not holding on, not controlling. Now, while this is happening, the first stage is learning how to relax your body. Then the second stage is learning how to focus the mind in concentration. Then this beautiful process happens behind the scenes with no conscious awareness, because the conscious mind is busy. And that's why it transcends, so the mind gets to rest down into the subconscious realm.
Yeah, how do you know that you're there then, if you're feeding the ego that's thinking that they're there? And then
That's a really good question,
We're
right?
going real deep today.
There's the mind funk, right?
I was just thinking, it's mind funk. So I've done a lot of meditation. I spent about 3 months every day doing 20 minutes a day. And then, so then I'm thinking back to my own self back then. So I think that I'm meditating, but then is that the ego that's saying that yes, I've fulfilled the meditation, and then under surface, how do I know that I've actually done it? Does that make sense?
Yes. I would say it's more from what the subtle things that started shifting, changing your life.
Okay.
I would say definitely for the first, so I've restructured and I've implemented other things, so I've called it the Bell Mind Method, meaning beautiful mind.
Yep.
But I'd say for the first 2 years, if I'm really, really honest, what I was doing, even though it felt like my life raft, while everything was changing, it gave me one stable base where I could come down and sit. And I started to notice people were different towards me. They would communicate with me differently. I started to walk more confidently. I felt more centered within, more grounded. And I would say probably for the first 2 years, all I was learning how to do was sit my ass still, relax, and concentrate, right? Because my mind was so busy. So I see it all the time. I see people, and no disrespect, but I see them going into class and they see everyone else like in this, and they come out and they go, my mind is so clear. And it's like, really?
Exactly. You're focusing on what everyone else is doing. You're trying to be centered in myself.
Yes. So I think if you think of it as the mind is a lousy master, but it's a faithful servant. So you want to not be fighting. It's like an inquisitive child. The ego is like an inquisitive child. The ego will always go off, wander off, explore, and all of that, and that's beautiful. Now, if you imagine a young child, you would never you would hope, scold it, drag it back, because it's just going to retaliate and fight.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is gently bringing it back. So with awareness, you keep becoming more and more sharp. Oh, bring it back, because you forget. You would know that. You're sitting there and you're like, what was I doing? And then you bring it back. So that's why I think that's why I'd say it's more powerful. And now what I've started noticing, that's how I wrote the book. You start tapping into the creativity. So you're saying you've only written 2 pages. Well, my challenge was not getting the creativity out. My challenge was actually putting the brakes on it, because it was coming out so fast. Right?
Well, it's interesting you're saying that, because when I decided to go through that process, I was doing a lot of meditation, because we brought on Alice and Nancy last week. She was a book writing coach around mindfulness, and she'd written 10 books around mindfulness.
Wow.
So she was getting me to do through our coaching Skype sessions. First thing we do is meditate, close eye process. Think of myself, thinking myself doing, and just ask these key questions. So when I came out of those coaching things, I just felt more centered, and then I got off the phone and I'll just go, I'm writing. So does that make sense? So it's interesting totally. that happened. So it wasn't actually 2 pages, by the way. I just say it's 2 pages.
Compared to this, it's 2 pages.
Compared to this, it's 2.
I just tell
everyone, like all my friends say, you've written a book, and I said, yeah, it's 2 pages written. The rest of it's actually drawings and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a little bit longer. But that's awesome. The amount of creativity that you must have to write a book in that size. I think mine was about I don't know.
It's so entertaining, and she's a great poet as well.
It just shows the creativity you have inside you.
I mean, a real fun, exciting
that's awesome.
book, and it's also a bit naughty as well.
A bit raunchy.
But the creativity is related to that, right?
Yeah.
I think today's a good day to talk about it, because the creativity is all about the feminine energy, the sexuality, the sensuality, I feel it's more of the subconscious realm, the unmanifested. And then we need to take action on it with the masculine energy. So we need both, which is then the action, which is more in the conscious. Like if we don't assimilate and bring them both together, then we're just sitting there with our thoughts in our head, that intuition, that inner wisdom, whatever you want to call it. And this is where we used to play when we were 5 and 6 years old, where we had... and I look at where I am now from going through that journey of, even the teachers, because there was a lot of trauma, the unwanted teachers, they were perfect teachers to teach me what I needed to learn. And that's what I want to show people is, we can get so stuck in our story, and you need to see the silver lining within each and every experience. What are you here to learn from? Because this may be confronting, but we attract it for whatever we need to learn. Exactly
right. And what I like about that, and you've touched on it a couple of times, the things you've brought up is self-awareness and detaching yourself from myself from a situation, which allows me to let go of my own story and be creative.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yes.
We are getting deep this morning, aren't we? But I just got a self-realization moment. Like, I mean, you've got to let go of my own story, that ego, like you're saying, and go and just let go of it and see what the possibilities are that are out there.
Yep.
Is that right?
I think it's, people always say to me, you're pretty deep, but this feels pretty normal.
It's like coming back home, it feels.
But that's okay. Yeah, and when you tap into that, when you feel into that, by not really stepping into that and owning it each and every day, then you're not honouring your soul.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm interested to hear what some of the
juiciness.
I think, didn't you have a couple of questions? Maybe we take a break. We have a couple of minutes of debrief and talk about what kind of questions that you have for some of me.
I'm open to answer any questions.
We have to go to a song.
Well, I was going to fix this.
Fix
the
mic. Okay, we're going to go to a song. Professional
Sorry.
outfit around. Watch out. We're going to go to a song, and we've got some juicy questions out there for Zoe Bell around her raunchy book that she's
It's
got
not
out.
raunchy. It's beautiful. Raunchy's got a little bit of a negative
Okay,
connotation.
well, I was
It's juicy. I like
juicy.
the word
Okay,
juicy.
juicy. Yeah, that's a better word. Okay, juicy. Juicy
And beautiful
content.
and feminine and
Beautiful and
And
feminine.
raunchy,
And we're
very
gonna get into those
We can
details.
get
Well, we've
raunchy.
been, there's a bit of everything in this book. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say, Zoe Bell. Or how do you say your porno name?
Yeah.
The Pinky
Pinky Fairway.
Pinky Fairway. Pinky Fairway meaning what's my one? Tickabirrel. Your one's a lot better. I like your one better.
mine's Domino Rubio.
Oh, Domino Rubio.
yeah.
What the? Oh, okay. So we're going to go to a song, and then we'll come back and ask her some questions around the adventures of the Pinky Fairway. And stay tuned, guys and girls, on Bondi Radio.
Thanks, guys. That was getting in my way. This one.
Sorry, was that in your way?
No, it's not your fault. We're still trying to figure it out, right?
Trying to figure out where we
How
can
the
put
best way
microphones.
to
I don't know
situate
if it's
this.
going to be better to do that though because it fell out, isn't it?
No, that's good now. It's good. And mine just comes here.
I can go. But then we need you in the middle.
Okay, so where should we go in this next segment? Because there's a lot that we can talk about, but we're going to bring you on in another
I
episode to
can
talk about book 2
the
and 3.
pinky and the pussy and all of that stuff, because that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
From the own inner healing. Yeah, embracing my pink bit. So then when I saw the pinky, I was like, oh my god, like it really sums it up.
So is that? Do you think that's a little too much for
No.
Saturday
For a
radio?
Saturday morning,
I can
let's
talk
see if we get
about
pulled off
the-
radio. See if Podgy says no.
I can talk about, the connection of the mind and the sensuality in the work that I do.
Yeah.
About connection and
Yeah.
presence.
Well, that's awesome. Let's
And
just go
stronger
for
orgasms
I
and
reckon-
things like that.
it. Work on this one.
Yeah.
Beg for forgiveness
Yeah, I was
instead of
just gonna
asking for some
I was
permission.
just gonna
So
say.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, I think you girls are. I don't know if you can hear that much, but you're
So-
a step away. I'm just cautious of the sound from last week.
Yeah.
Though, does that make sense? So,
Yeah.
So do you want me
No,
to...
that's perfect there.
Perfect.
That's
Yeah, just
not in
go
my
straight
way.
into the
So
thing.
you just go into this,
I
and
know
I'll
it's
just go
hard
into
because
this.
you're going like this. Yeah, I'm asking questions. So we'll go into. Do you
How
want
you
to go
feeling?
into it now?
Yeah, let's do
Are you
it.
ready to
Yeah,
go?
yeah. I just wanted to
Just
take a
ask
break
me
to have a bit of
anything.
a
Ask me anything.
huddle.
Ask me
Huddle,
anything.
huddle.
Yeah.
Because basically, I've almost gone from being very open as a child, very inquisitive, very explorative, to then becoming numb inside, switched off,
Yeah.
tuned out.
Yeah.
So I had to attract the perfect teachers. I
Yeah.
didn't need to go into it. The poetry only started downloading when I went to, because the publishers refused. So talk about that. How
Wow.
the poetry.
I thought the
No,
poets were
poetry
all
only
part.
started
Oh wow.
downloading
Wow.
when I submitted my manuscript, and they went, "You can't write this. You can't write about rape. You can't write that because you need
So
permission."
this we need to get this on.
So let's
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Because let's bring the other stuff in.
Yeah. We should just talk exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
That's all really good. Yeah.
Because people need to hear that. So
I thought this was written. I thought you've always been a writer
I
of that.
started downloading. I came here.
Do you think the
I
meditation
came there.
helped with that?
Yeah. Oh, it's all that.
Yeah.
The meditation has unleashed my soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
My
And-
unique gifts. So I'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
So I was here doing a raw cacao party. I went home that night.
Wow.
and
ready to go,
started
ladies?
downloading. Talk
Wow.
about that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know. I was just going to ask questions.
It's about not taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
And seeing a no as another way to find a way.
Yeah.
But no is also empowering.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to say no.
Yeah.
So why don't we go on?
Yeah.
Are you ready to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Good stuff.
Ready?
Yes.
So clearing the microphones.
Yeah. We're clear now.
Are you clear now?
I'm clear.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I need to learn this.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just trying to get my headphones on now. We're down on Bondi Radio. We're all things professional down here. We just lost the microphone before, and now I'm losing my headphones. But we are back, and we are back. I don't like the word "but," and we are back live in front of this awesome beach down on Bondi Beach. In the bucket list, filming live. This is Liam Zollo, your host, and Sheena Alexandra, the co-host, and our lovely, lovely guest, Zoe Bell. Welcome back, Zoe Bell.
Pinky.
Okay, Pinky. So we were chatting before the song, and we were chatting about your book. We had some questions around your book. So do you want to tell people a little bit more about it? I will just go straight into it.
Yeah, you know what to do.
So we were just having a chat about, Sheena was asking about the poems, and what I found is when I first...
Oh, because they don't know. There's so many poems. In every experience that you have, from curing herpes to rape to all of the colorful experiences that you've had.
I didn't know it was like that.
It's deep.
It's deep, okay. Let's go.
She's an incredible human.
Go for it. Let's get it going. I want to hear this.
So the publishing company, when I submitted the manuscript, they basically said, you can't write this. You need to get permission from the person that raped you. You need to get permission from this person. So I was actually here, I came to a raw cacao party one night, and I danced, drank heaps of raw cacao, went home that night, and I started downloading all these poems. I started finding a voice, a way to reclaim my power, because to own it, because I started, when the publishing company were like, no, I started feeling this disempowerment, shame, all that stuff, and feeling overpowered, and I was like, well, I need to take back my power. And I know it's from the meditation, because it was tapping and unleashing this unlimited creativity. So I went home, and I remember I started writing, and I'd written like 4-page ones. The first one was about being free, and that was all about saying so basically I'm taking full ownership of everything. I'm thanking what happened to me, but also giving the person forgiveness in it without putting any blame on people, because that's the things that will keep people stuck, the blame, the shame, and all that guilt. So I started downloading, and I spoke to my mum that day, and she was like, I think I've been downloading for 2 days non-stop, and she was like, can you go and see people? You sound really manic, and you need to go and see people. And I was like, no, I'm downloading. And I started noticing that another gift from deep in my soul started to be birthed. And then my whole writing has shifted and changed from this.
So what was that thing?
What was the thing?
Yeah, you were saying something was deep inside your soul that was coming out. What was that coming out? Just the writing capability, or the stories,
well,
or the
it's tapping into the creativity.
Okay,
I would
cool.
just keep sitting, coming back to myself. Often in life, when we meet a resistance, we hear a no. We go into fight mode, and I've been like that all the way through my life. I also needed to learn how to say the word no, because I had to start taking back my power, and in saying no, then finding another way.
Yeah.
And I know it was all coming from the subconscious, which I know, hand on heart, is all from sitting there doing the meditation. It's almost like it's coming through me now.
Yeah.
Like it's not even coming from me.
Yeah.
And your subconscious realm is like what people talk about, source, life force, all of that stuff, all the juicy stuff.
Yeah.
So you started becoming a poet, and you can see your beautiful writing on your Facebook pages. I mean, it's not just in your book; it's on your posts, and now you're a poet. and did you put all these poems back into the book, and then reapproach the editor or the publishing company?
Yeah, so I looked at every chapter, and I would sit there and think about what is my intention, what's the message I want to bring, and then I would write a poem for each of the chapters. And I can't remember, I think there's 19 chapters, I don't know, there's quite a lot. And then I resubmitted it. I got permission from all the people I could, or I was willing to, like my ex-husband, and that was beautiful, because I almost wrote it in a way that was saying sorry in a way, but owning it myself for what I did, but also not getting into that victim of, it was really empowering for me to say why I did it, and that was also for me to feel free as a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I haven't read the book. I mean, is it all poems?
No.
Yeah, I just want to know.
No, I mean, but she writes about such hard stuff, and then she lightens it up with a poem, and she kind of closes it with a poem and her perspective, and there's been a lot of dark moments.
So it's like if a lot of people get stuck in their story, and the biggest thing to start to do is to own it. And I've had consults with people where I've heard their story, and then I've gone away, and it's almost like a consignment. Then I'll write a piece for them, very bespoke. It's called Touch with Zoe, so it's Touch with Life. And then they read it, and the interesting part is when they read it, they're like, that's like something I would write, but I couldn't find the words. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what I'm channeling, but obviously it's coming out, so I'll let it come out.
And then because why not? You know, let it come out.
And then the second book got started as the publishing was go through.
Okay.
So the publishing took about 4 or 5 months. I was very naive going in. I was like, oh, it'll take 4 weeks. So I learned about how long it takes for that whole thing. So by the time I got to the end of 5 months, I'd then written book number 2, which had like 81 poems in it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so previous to this, right, before we get into the juicy stuff,
Yeah.
have you always been a poem writer at all? Did you have anything inside you that was doing poetry? I mean, how did you know to be great at it? Like, I dabbled into poems as well myself, just as a creative source. And I started enjoying the process of it. So at the same time, like, I felt I was done with the amount that I was doing. So do you think it's the creative source that's coming, that like that everything inside you that's passing through you is just it's pre-learned, or is it just like it's just coming from deep within my subconscious mind?
I think it's a natural gift which comes out, and I think when you've got a method that will, and that's the beautiful thing, what it does to me is different what it will do to someone else. So I really see it's about unleashing our uniqueness within. I feel we all have a really unique purpose, and that was the whole purpose of the story. I was so lost. So the writing, I started writing, I was very sexual when I was younger, I was very explorative. We played, like, I left some stuff out because my sister went, people don't need to know that, right? But yeah, we were very explorative, and just the whole curiosity. And I remember I started writing a lot of very sexual, very raunchy stuff, and sorry mum, but I know my mum found some, and then I internally started feeling some shame with that. And then so for whatever that was also my choice of whatever my journey was then.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So Zoe, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the experiences? I mean, you don't have to go in depth, but we can just list off, 5. Very colorful, like nobody I've ever met before. And you've got such strength, so I mean, we're talking about this as you've come through everything, but...
So I really believe, that's a big part I want people to take with them, is we choose everything. I chose this soul mission before I came into this body, and I feel I've had many. One of my gifts, I feel, is to have a gift of mercy, to see the best in everyone, to love everyone, to see the good in everything. I don't see good and bad, I just see it as a different perception. And to keep getting up and never giving up. So all the things that happened to me. Okay, let's talk about one big juicy one. So the rape, I was 17 years old, and without going too much into it, I was pissed off and angry inside. I had a come on, mofo, make my day attitude. I was very angry, had a lot of anger towards my father, had a big thing on abandonment, all that stuff. So it was just putting out this, I was a fighter as well, which, I think was beautiful because it got me to where I was. It taught me to keep getting up. So the circumstance of what that happened, and without going into it, because I don't really have any attachment to the story, but it was there for me to learn whatever, and this may be very hard for a lot of people to understand, but I learned to, I feel in a way, that person that tried to take some of that power, no one can take anything from you, and maybe that gave them some light in whatever that was, and to break free, we need to have ownership. We need to take responsibility. We need to acknowledge like what we were being. It's not saying it's right. It's not saying people should do that. It's more about taking back your power and being a voice, no matter what.
And you have compassion for the person that did that to you, which I think is a beautiful thing.
That's hard to do. You know, that's strength. That is strength. To have that, you know, compassion for someone like that, you know.
So what juicy bit number 2?
Well, you know, it happens, you know, people say, you know, it doesn't happen to men, and I mean, like, physiologically it's hard, but, you know, it does happen to men, and it's a big, you know, it's that whole, how much are we respecting ourselves and respecting one another and loving one another. So a lot of it was about me learning to reclaim my power, a lot of disempowerment, a lot of powerlessness, but then that was all coming back to that inner. What other juicy one do you want to, I don't know. I'd say my biggest lesson, and I really feel like healed all of this from the inside last year, was abandonment. It had been my theme, and I believe it had been my theme for many, many lifetimes. So now I don't feel disappointment with anything. By anything. I found a way as well. If I go on a date with someone and, you know, for whatever reason it doesn't work out, I found a way I can eliminate their name completely from my mind within 48 hours. And not in a disconnect, but it's like learn the lesson, move on. Life's too short.
Yeah, and I'm gathering that it's about the lessons, and as well as that in this book, and the people that you know, helped you and guided you. Is that right? Is that what's happening in the book as well? Or just
I guess.
Is it like I'm guessing, just gathering from the information, you might write a chapter around an experience, and then there's a person that shows up that helped you in that moment of that self-realization moment, or is it just from the meditation itself that helped you overcome that abandonment, for example, or compassion for someone? I mean, is it the person that helped you get there, or is it the meditation and the be still to help you let go?
It was the meditation. It totally rewired myself. I work a lot with the body as well, so releasing trauma. So it's about rewiring what is stuck in the physical body, also working with the mind, and then bringing the heart and mind into balance. I shared my story. I had real resistance with this because I carried my story around on my arm for so long. I thought I was my story.
Yeah.
So I was the biggest victim, I was the biggest sexually manipulator. I would do anything I could to get attention, affection, and acknowledgement. It was my survival mechanism. And I see so many people out there doing that. So I wanted, people kept saying to me, you know, why are you the way you are? People would either love me or they'd hate me. And I'd be like, well, maybe I do need to put it down. Maybe I do need to share my story. But getting to that point of having no emotional attachment to it anymore, and almost knowing that everything within there, healing from the inside out, when the other conventions had numbed me out, put a lid on it. Yeah, rather than, you know, I think we need to have a combination of the Western and the alternative. You know, really getting into the energy work, because we're only scratching the surface. So a lot of this, it's got a very, there's a lot of consciousness in it, there's a lot of about how to tap into the power of abundance, the power of attraction. So people can, depending on where people are at in their journey, they're going to pick up different things from this.
So do you think that also as well, writing these things down helped you let go as well? Do you think, or did you already let go? I mean,
yeah, I was letting go. It was interesting. When I started writing, I got encouraged to start writing it by, I call him the Apache Indian messenger. And he was actually an Apache chief in America. And, you know, people can come into your lives for different reasons.
Yeah.
Never met in the physical.
Oh, really?
But he started to see me in a very different light. I'd already been meditating by then. So this was in December 2015. And he's different sexual things, and, you know, I was always... What's
an example of these sexual things?
So really about owning myself as a woman, about a sovereign being, not feeling shame about having fantasies, really owning myself as a woman. So I explored a lot of things in my mind, in my head, and it was powerful. And then I started to notice, so he came into my life, it was very intense, like for 3 months. And then I did some other clearing stuff, and then he disappeared off the face of the planet. So that was my biggest lesson, was to, and I know this had happened before, so he was a teacher for me to fully heal that disappointment, but about letting go.
How did you meet? So how did you meet this Apache?
Pimped-in. I'll call it pimped-in. It's called LinkedIn. But it's like, and I get this, I get it now. It's, you know, people are like, how do you meet people? And it's to do with that, when you're tapping into the subconscious, you're tapping into that creativity. That's also your sexuality, your magnetism. So you start attracting things like a magnet. But I guess he was a perfect teacher. But I call it pimped-in because, yeah.
So it's not an actual website. It's a.
I'm glad you clarified that. So I actually thought it was. I'm just going to Google that then.
Liam, I'm really interested. You said you had a question for Zoe a few weeks ago. Do you remember what the question was?
No, I don't have it. I have tons of questions in here. I just want to. I'm more thinking about what these fantasies are. You know, I just want to. I want to explore like an example fantasy, and is it in the book that you had a go?
So
I want to hear a fantasy. What the detail? I want to hear detail.
Maybe now.
You want to ask me? That's the question.
Okay. So I did pre-warn my mum when she read the book. I said there's probably a little bit you don't want to read, and it was more about, without going too much into it, it was about being in the presence of a very evolved man. And an evolved man, for me, what I see is a man that, wow, this is another segment, an evolved man that's very much in his strong masculine. And being in that, if a woman has not explored certain experiences, he will encourage her to explore those, to really step into her power and own it.
So he's like a guiding hand or something?
Like a guiding hand, but, you know, like having no attachment, having no agenda, loving and adoring that person for being a very sensual, sexual being. And that may mean exploring, that may, you know, there's a massive topic on this. But, you know, a man that's very much in his power, that holds that presence with strong presence and loves her just as much. So this was just playing out in my mind.
Yeah.
But it, you know, it went from the scene of being in a room and, you know, there's people looking you through the window, and that allure of people watching, and what that does to the psyche, and what that does to you, and your openness, your vulnerableness, your rawness, which is juicy, it's sexy. And then about inviting them in and sitting there, you know, very elegant with a glass of wine, and telling them what you want them to do. So you're commanding, you're saying what you want in your voice. And I believe a lot of women, and this was the click, a lot of women feel, you know, if you do that as a woman, if you really step in and own your power as a strong woman and say what you desire, and to be honored as a goddess that you are, then that can be seen in another way. It's given another term. And I think, you know, same with a man. So we really need to love and see all of that within one another.
Yeah,
but that's
awesome.
a massive topic.
That's a massive. Just on
Some people aren't ready for it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Right?
Just on touching on. Sorry. I mean, excuse me. Touching on
I
that
tend to
subject.
touch people with my words.
Touching on that
It's
subject.
getting heated over here, guys.
Touching on that subject, right?
Yes.
You were saying that allowing you to take ownership and go through that period, but by having that evolved man helping you express that, right? Does that mean that the man's helped you bring that out, and is that, in an essence, your own masculine energy within that as well, or is that, is that what you're saying? Masculine is a little bit more.
Well, your action, it's all of it.
And then and then what? Him having the understanding and the evolved.
To having no attachment, to not trying to control, to not having any agenda.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to control. It's like this and it's like, we need to break free and honor ourselves as a whole. Yeah. And that whole, yes, it is sensual.
Yeah.
Well,
I was just thinking, does it translate into an opposite thing where the man guides the evolved man guides the lady to become a goddess, where she has that little bit more of ownership and masculine, where he's helping her get there and understanding, so he has that feminine.
Well, like the feminine for the man, you need that as well.
Does that make sense?
Because he's tapping into his compassion, his understanding, his vulnerability, his rawness, because it will, and I'm not saying we all need to go out and do this. You can play this in your mind. Like, the first place is to play it in your mind. I love to teach women and men how they can start accessing their mind, and you can start turning people on like that with that mind connection. There's no touching. There's none of that. That's sexy. That's powerful.
Yeah.
And it's safe.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And it's coming back to, again, being present as well. When you're
all
present,
about being present,
and there's no ego and there's no power, you're almost meditating in essence, and that's where the flow comes, and the essence of these two people. That's harmony.
There's so much on this. There's like stuff I love to do, like with couples, and that stuff that I'm creating is about really taking people deeper. But a lot of people, you should be careful with that word, a lot of people are not ready to go deep because the container is not strong enough. So that's why we need to start off with the foundations, to make the physical container stronger, to all this energy that's going around is life force energy, sexual in nature, creative.
Do you think that okay, cool. You're talking about porn names.
Yeah, I've never done porn. I did think about it. Like, I think I take my hat off to people that do it. I've got friends that have amazing jobs, as some of the highest paid escorts, and I have total respect for them. And I guess in another lifetime we've all been that. I know I've used my body, because I look at what I'm doing now, but I'm like, do I really need to put myself into that situation now? No, because I know on my soul level it's actually going to, because there's a transference of energy. Yeah. And when your energy feels so high, it's the more people you invite in there, the more a part of that, So
the negative part of being an escort and being on porn is the ego, actually. Because if you look at the animal kingdom, I mean, they have sex with everyone, and they're not called.
Well, that's what I was asking. Do you think that just
are we really meant to be monogamous?
Right, that's
Yeah. But we can do that on another segment.
Yeah, you can do that in another segment. Oh, I just wanted to ask though, with porn in general. Okay, so you go on a porn site, and people go on these porn sites to look. Yeah. Do you think that that's a good thing in terms of creativity, or a bad thing in terms of it's taking the life force out of being connected with that one person?
Okay.
Instead of looking at it in your computer or television or whatever it is. Do you think it's a good thing that it's causing creativity, or bad because it's taking life out of?
Let me ask you a question.
All right.
Is that all right?
Go ahead. Okay. I'll answer it the best way I can.
So the way, without going into what I think, just think about when you connect with your partner and you're totally present and you're in that beautiful space of you're co-creating together and you have that beautiful orgasmic release compared to the quick, I need to quickly get off from whatever porn it is. What feels the best? What feels more fulfilling? What feels more full? The or the they feel different.
Do you want me to do the sound?
No, I'm doing both. I'm just asking you what feels more on a soul level, what feels more fulfilling, the quick, you know, and
release.
Or...
Oh, well, you know the answer to that question.
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly.
Yeah, I understand that. So that what I'm saying is then, from the other side, is it good for creativity? In terms of understanding what other people are...
Well, have you seen the categories on some of the...
Yeah,
there's a lot of creative people out there.
There's a lot. So is it good to look at what other people are doing in terms of getting ideas, or is it better just to be in the moment and be creative yourself?
I think it's better to connect with yourself, get creative in the moment. It's a lot more powerful. Yeah. If you're constantly doing that quick get off, it's going to drain your energy. You have a lot of leakage from the energy centers, more in the second and the base, so you can actually feel drained, depleted, like you just have to keep getting it, and you always feel empty. It gets an addiction. Now, I've found, I don't know if I say this now, I'll say it. So I've found a way to raise that up, more up to my third eye, and then be able to loop it through my body and manage to have an orgasm, no hands, but being able to work the energy. You know, when that type of orgasm is more like, I would say, it's the cosmic orgasm, because it's not like it's full, it's everything, it's the whole...
It's body, mind, and spirit.
And I think if we get away from the whole thing about the whole low vibration thing of sex, then we start to open up and be more free, as it's not just about that, it's the whole sensual self, the whole body. It's just not about the genitals. People are so lost.
Yeah, exactly.
They think it's about that, and it's, you could have an orgasm, I don't know, some people, because they have their earlobe touched.
Yeah, exactly, that's right.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet.
Earlobes, I'm sorry, that is my little fetish. Well, no, just like when we're driving, or, you know, not anymore, I don't touch earlobes. Okay, guys, we gotta
That's right.
We're just getting started again, and we've got to get off. We've got another go.
We've got to get off.
These stupid. Okay, I'm out of here now. I'm out of here. I'm going to get in trouble.
What a juicy day. What a juicy... I don't want to end.
No, I don't want to end either. This has been a very great conversation. We're definitely going to get you back in.
I'd love to.
Pinky Fairway, is that right? Pinky Fairway?
I think I called you Pinky Tinkerbell earlier.
Yeah, Tinkerbell as well.
Tinkerbell, Pinky Fairway, and...
Domino Ruby.
There we go, there's our porno names. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you so much. Zoe Bell's been awesome. We'll definitely get you back on for another hour just to chat about more juicy details. We've got a...
Did you notice?
Awesome...
She's naked on the front.
Yeah, there we go. So we've got her awesome book as well. I want to get my hands on this book as well. Oh, it's for me. Okay, thank you
you're going to enjoy this.
All right, I'll read this one. So it's The Adventures of Pinky Fairway.
How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. How can we get in touch with...
Probably the best way is on Facebook.
Facebook, okay, cool.
Under Zoe Bell.
Under Zoe Bell, okay. So start researching Zoe Bell and get in contact with her. You want to help inspire couples, women, men. What was it before? So It's
more about starting off, so it's about a relationship with self, it's about connecting with the feminine and the masculine. So I've just created a page called the Unified Bliss Collective.
Okay.
And it's about bringing everyone together, about creating moments of bliss.
Yep.
And sharing everything that I love and I'm passionate about, and awakening that within others.
Awesome.
So we can shift humanity.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
That wraps up our third radio show, the Weekend Wellness. This has been awesome. Well, you know what? We started off the show with a bit of bad publicity around Richard not knowing about what we're actually going to be talking about. But if he's not tuning in now, he didn't get to hear what Pinky Fairway had to say about orgasms and the cosmic orgasm. You know, if you don't want to learn that piece of information, then you know what? It's not part of the cosmos in my mind.
No,
So
you can just.
yeah. So thank you so much for the opportunity to come back down on Bondi Radio on the Weekend Wellness Show. This is Liam Zollo with Zoe Bell and my lovely co-host Sheena Alexandra. Until next week, Sheena, we're going to keep everything under wraps in terms of guests that we've got on, topics we're going to come on and talk about as well. So
it's a great lineup, though, guys. Tune in.
We're getting better and better with our professionalism every week. Even though I had a mismatch with my headphones and the cord that was in there, and we had a microphone drop and all that. But then you know what? That's what part of it. That's what
the authenticity and the realness is all about.
Exactly right. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week on the Bondi Radio Show, the Weekend Wellness. The Weekend Wellness Show. Thank you so much, guys and girls.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
So we're just gonna. I don't know what's going on
Yeah,
there.
I'll turn it off. I'll just press finish.
Yeah, just press finish.
Hey boys.
Hey,
How are you?
How's it going?
What's your name?
Anthony.
Anthony. How are you?
Good.
Tony.
Hey,
Liam.
Tony, how are you? Hi, Anthony. Why are you not called Tony?
I'm Ant. I go by Ant.